You ever wondered why all the Appalachian people were devoted to Christ? I think it was just the sheer nature God gave them to live in that made them modest and humble. Now here's the view looking up. Now this would have been made to see down in the valley, but to me it's almost like a ram head with the mouth and the horns going down around the side of the head. Just the odd way it was stacked up there just makes you wonder who would have laid these huge stones. You just look down, you can see how far it really is. A long way down. This wall goes for 4.5 miles. If you look on Google Earth, you'll see in it, and it's just captured my attention because how did all these rocks that aren't native to the area get here and look exactly like a wall with square stones? And I get to thinking about the stories of the old, of Noah, and the time before. Now I'm going to take you with me here. We're climbing to the top of these, and you just look at the beautiful rocks. It could have been the first ones, but they're all piled here together. And we're climbing up these steep ravines. Almost looks like an eagle looking down with the wing alongside. I'm sure God had a little hand in making it the way it is. Here's a view of the wall where the eagle was. You can see that this has a wing shape and a mouth shape going the whole way around. Front view of the eagle, you can see it looks like two eyes almost. And there you can see a part of a tail. And here, just an odd rock that I showed you earlier. Long way down there. Not a lot of footing. You can see it's not easy to walk all of this. You run into this stuff. If you look around, there's a lot of odd shaped rocks. But majority of them rocks come to a square corner and are laid very square. You know, years ago, even back in the 50s, people were saying, hey, this area here was definitely built by the giants or people old. And now I think we're just getting a little too involved and a little too out of whack. Earth is only thousands of years old, and you know, with man on Earth, this could have happened. So here's Dinosaur Rock, and right over next to it is a strange formation of rock over there, and I'm gonna walk over and show you. And what was this? I'm not sure. Hey, so I'm 9 miles back Stony Valley and found this old incline up here, up this stream, and I did some research. What I came up with is back in 1908 there was a logger that didn't want to have a whole team of mules, 20 team of mule, so he made an incline out of stone to go the whole way down the mountain, 2.5 miles or so. So we're going to look at it and see the amount of work that went involved with this stone incline down the mountain. So let's take a look. We just walked through everything that was washed out, and that's pretty amazing. Years ago, from strip mining, that settlement down below Cold Springs, they took all the coal out, and the acid from the coal brings out that iron in the stone. So we're left with orange springs. They should call it orange springs instead of yellow. And orange rocks, a couple pieces of coal. This incline plane sure is an interesting feat. Just to pile up all them stones. Save on some horses. Right here's the top of the mountain. We're on the very top of the incline plane. And from what I'm seeing here, on this ledge they built, the whole way up the trail they put coal on top, and I'm guessing that made a smooth road till it smashed down. Okay, here we're at the top, and you can see they built some kind of permanent structure. I mean, right here you can see the old brick, and they cut them stone right here for this little landing area. I'm guessing it had something to do with the lumber they were hauling out and the horses. But here's an area, there's an old iron bar. You can use your judgment what that was used for. But here's a pipe next to the ground, and it looks like a culvert of some kind here. You can see the edges, cut stone here, and the wet area. So I'm guessing they had a spring, and originally they were using that team of 20 horses to haul the lumber down the mountain. So there's an old bucket they would have used. Alright, we made it to the top, and I just wanted to show you again. I tried earlier, but it was raining too hard. No one knows the exact purpose of this tower. It was built in 1851, so over 160 years ago. It was 40 feet tall or more, and it's not quite that tall now. I'll show you the top and how it fell over time. If you look up this thing is a brute. Standing real tall on top of the mountain, just sitting up here by itself in the middle of nowhere. But the rocks are about ready to come off. We're gonna look down here at the bottom, search around for some other stuff. But the rocks they used were humongous, and now it's just covered in underbrush. So they built a retaining wall here next to this tower. You can see it just split right up the middle. Just wanted to show you the view down the incline. Would have worked good for coal or lumber. Better than using horses. And I've since learned that this was built a long time ago, in the 1600s perhaps, by the Hessians, used as slaves to the owners of this farm territory. Now it's all mountain ground, but you can just see the hard work they put into that. It's just an awesome view of what history used to be. And you think about the old timers that were here years ago in the POW camp. How many prisoners of war that were here that could have changed history if it wasn't for our troops being here. Alright, so I'm walking through the mountain here at an old military camp. It's an interrogation camp for World War II. And I'm going to explain more. First I'm going to show you the old sites I found, the rocks where the buildings were. This was a secret hidden deep in the mountains where hardly anybody knew about. There was only 2 of these big interrogation places in America, and this was one of them. This was first camp made by conservationists in the early 30s, and then it was taken over for World War II. And I want to show you the old building foundations that are left over up in these mountains here. So just stick with me and we'll look around here and see what kind of buildings we can find hidden way up in the mountains. Now this is the Civilian Conservation Corps office. So here's a big concrete circle, a lot of inscriptions on it, and I think this was from the prisoner of war camp. You can see the symbol up here. We're going to take a look up this way and looking for an old fountain somebody told me about that's up here in the mountains. It used to be the center where they walked up to their camp, civilian corps, and probably the center of the POW camp. And this is an awesome site. This would have been the fountain that they made originally, conservation corps. And you can see, you look in here, you can see the old wire they use, the old pipe, hold this old fountain together. Just back in the mountain here, you know, history just waiting for people to find, and you just gotta look around and ask people. And this is a great historic spot. I mean, you look and you just think, what did they put on that rock in the middle? Who was here and what kind of drills did they do? What kind of soldiers were through this military camp? How many Japanese did they have in here interrogating? And I'm going to show you a few things I researched later on in this video. A few pictures that might help give you a better visual of what things were. And these just huge towering trees that they have in here are amazing. Now this here rock marks the headquarters, the staff office, and the nurses building. But it's pretty unique. It's made out of that reddish pink stone, sandstone. And I'm not sure exactly the purpose. Maybe when everything was all fixed up, it just had an arrow right here. Right here's the tip of the arrow. Right here's an old bathhouse. You know, whether they use that pipe for a drain. But over here, if you look, whatever the remains were of this, some kind of well, probably be a good idea. Old tile that still remains, and it's like that's the corner of the building. It just went up through here, and there's an old set of steps there. Now this is the Devil's Race Course. Miles and miles, 3 to 4 miles of just pulverized stones, laying from what was the same exact saddle as that wall that I showed you. It's just breathtaking. Just the amount of rubble that's here. It's unreal. Way back in here. And not every person sees this. You have to take it and go way back in the wilderness just to see something like this. The most intriguing part of all this is the rattling run that runs underneath it. People think, you know, they know where everything goes, got everything under control. Down here is a creek you'll never get to. And I'm trying to get you close here where you can hear the gurgling. I hope you can hear that, but you look deep in them rocks. You may never find it, you may never see it, but it is there. Sometimes you get close to it. There's a good spot to hear it. Rattling run. Lots of rattlesnakes, and this is rattlesnake territory. Rattlesnake season.